Hi everybody, Master Trainer Kiona Leah. Happy Wellness Wednesday. Now this is a topic that has been on the queue for 3 weeks. Got a request from Stacy 3 weeks ago about talking about being able to work with a tight sternum and opening up the chest and rib cage a lot more. And not only other exercises, which we've been doing on the page all week. If you guys haven't checked out the class quit from Monday, make sure you do it. But there's a little bit more that we can also work on. And that is we can work on what might be underneath of those muscles really being too tight. And even when we do these great exercises to collapse and expand and move our rib cage around, we can't seem to get free. And that is scar tissue, or a lot of times what we call adhesions. Now adhesions are little balls of scar tissue that build up for one reason or another. Remember, especially when we're weight training, but all exercise, when we want to build strength, we're micro tearing the muscles in order for them to build stronger and thicker. If we overdo it, we put larger tears in the muscle, and that starts to lay down a scarring effect. So rather than your muscle fibers being nice and smooth and predictable in nice ribbons and lines, they get a little tangled up, and they stay a little tangled up. Those little knots over time, if you think about a ball of yarn, if you've got enough of those little knots, you're not going to be able to get it to stretch and do what you want. So we're going to go over 3 different ways today that we can work through and start to break up adhesions on our own. If you have really bad adhesions, if you still are stiff after doing stuff like this, you really do want to make sure to go see a professional, either a physical therapist or a chiropractor, probably somebody who is going to do a technique called Graston on you in order to further break up some of those adhesions. I also have a fantastic massage therapist who will do it as well, not only with her evil little fingers, but she'll actually use the Graston tools as well. What an amazing difference it makes. And don't yell at me if you end up bruised. Just take extra alfalfa, because that's part of the process, unfortunately. So starting off, no equipment needed whatsoever, which is of course one of our favorite things. We can really just use our hand to help work some of this out. So if we make a fist, and if you want, I'm coming a little closer so you can see, I'm kind of moving my knuckles up so that I can feel the edges of them a little bit more. If you're more sensitive and have lots of pain, you may want to fold in and start with the flat part of that hand. But you're going to start right at that sternum, and I always tell people start right underneath that clavicle, start at the sternum, and then you can do little circles out. Now remember, you also have lymph nodes all through here. So you may feel tender points that don't have anything to do with muscles or adhesions, but they're lymph nodes that are also over toxic for one reason or another. So go gentle and start, but you want to start circling out and really starting to move and open all that up. Open, lift the arm and go underneath, circling out and doing that. And you're doing this all the way across, but you want to start on this sternum, and you want to start with outward pressure to start opening this up, circling out. And as you get more used to it, I'll turn this way so hopefully you can see that a little better, and I'll tilt forward. So here I'm doing it flat knuckles. As I get more used to it, I'm going to increase that, and I'm going to actually use my knuckles. Now it's not super comfortable this way, but it really works to move that out, move that out, move that out, and going up underneath that armpit. Once you get all the way across the chest, you want to go and right in between the bust line, right in the center, you want to use that. If you can't go out, 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 because there's stuff in the way, you can just go up and down as far as you can. And of course, it's better to do this without any obstruction, whether it be a sports bra or, of course, an underwire bra, even worse, or anything like that. Try and do it. Then you can kind of tip over, things will move out of the way for you, and then you can go out and across this way. So that's the first method that we can use, is just using our hand. Opening all this up, you can start to feel that really warm up and go open. This starts to really allow us to do this more. We did this as our part of our warm-up on our Monday night class. So that's a repeat. Now, here's the next piece that we're going to work on. We can use our handy dandy body brush. Now, if you know the body brushing sequence, whether it's from T-tap method or you've looked up a different one, opening up the chest is a big part of that. Now, with the full sequence, we don't actually start at the chest, but there are sequences that do, because of the fact that your sinuses and upper respiratory lymph drains all through here, and 80% of the lymph in your body actually drains right through this upper part of your left chest. So this is a big area where we want to drain. Some people like to get this decongested first and then work on everything. So when we're working on lymphatic for the chest, I always start by working on my left side first. You saw me do that. So now with my brush, I'm going to go to my right side because it hasn't been done yet. You want to do similarly, start at the center. So this is different than what we've seen. Circling out. This is a little softer on the body, especially through a shirt, but harder on the skin. So remember, if you're doing this completely unencumbered, this doesn't actually always feel better, going up underneath those armpits. But again, with the brush, I have an easier time going all the way across everything, especially if I've got a barrier between myself and those bristles. Different story. Now, we want to add to that when we're doing a brush. Once you've done this and gone out, down the side, now we want to come back in, same thing across, and then go up. Really kind of shaking everything up and getting that all moving. So now, because I did this side with my hand and this side with the brush, I'm feeling a little bit more balanced about being able to move my rib cage forward and back. So those are two easy ways, both very easy to find. Your hands, I hope you can find. And brushes are super easy. I will put links below so that you can get these. Now this is a cellulose fiber brush. It is not plastic. That's much better for your skin. So if you are going to do this unencumbered, make sure you have the right kind of brush. So that is method number 2. Now method number 3, you will need a link for this specifically, is a hard, and this is resin. You can see mine is very, very, very beautiful. This is made, this is literally a little piece of practical artwork. And I've talked about these on my channel before. When I did the foot fitness, I talked about this beauty as well. I love this thing. It is kind of like a fascia blaster. If you're familiar with fascia blaster, that will also work. This I like because it's got some natural embedded energy in it, and it was made by an amazingly beautiful artist, my friend Rainbow Ray. So I'll put the links for her stuff below. I also like this because it's palm-sized. A lot easier to use than even the small fascia brush blaster. It's hard to use with only one hand because of the way it's built. This is nice because I can literally palm it, and it sits on my desk. Now this works really nicely, but again, you got to be used to, and this you would use the same sequence that we started with our hand. So starting in the center, making those circles outwards to the armpit, all the way across, coming down a little bit each time, circling out. I can use a lot less pressure with this thing to get that same result of really being able to move everything. And then you can do the same thing. You can come in like we did with the brush. You can come back in with this, and you can even go up in order to really get your results. But especially if your sternum is tight, I will spend extra time right here, just up and down. This also helps clear out my sinuses because everything drains this way. I can start to feel that opening, and just circling out, all the way down and around, underneath, and then coming back in. Really brings in that extra energy and going up. So very similar, but different than if you're familiar with the T-tap method, different than what we do at the chest with our typical body brushing. This is working more with the lymph, but also especially the knuckles, and this little beauty will help break up those adhesions. It starts to dig in and bust up where the muscle has knotted a little bit more. All right, you guys, that is our Wellness Wednesday of the week from Healthy by Kiona. What do you guys want to talk about next? I think I've finally run out of topics that people have been requesting. It's been week after week after week, which is amazing and wonderful. I really love hearing from you guys, so make sure you comment below with questions, feedback, all of that, like the video and the page if you haven't done that already. Subscribe, and of course, don't forget to share. In the meantime, I'm Kiona Leah. I want to see you move, live, and thrive. So I'll see you on the next one.